Not all turning points in music history arrive with noise and headlines. Some happen quietly, driven by exhaustion, reflection, and the need for change. When John Foxx left Ultravox, he stepped away from a band on the verge of transformation and chose a very different path. In this video, I explore why he made that decision, using his own reflections to understand what led him to step away and what followed next. To understand why John Foxx left Ultravox, it helps to return to the early days of the band. Formed in the mid-70s, the band stood apart from most of what was happening in Britain at the time. They combined the urgency of punk with European electronics, art school ideas, and a cool, detached vocal style. At a time when many bands were reacting against excess, Ultravox looked forward, drawing inspiration from futurism, continental culture, and technology. Under Foxx's leadership, the band released 3 albums that would later be recognized as important milestones in the period leading up to the rise of New Wave. Their debut album, simply titled Ultravox, introduced a striking mix of guitars, treated electronics, and futuristic imagery. It sounded raw and confrontational, yet already hinted at a more electronic future. This was followed by Ha Ha Ha, which pushed the sound in a darker and more aggressive direction, reflecting both the mood of the late 70s and Foxx's growing interest in atmosphere and abstraction. These records did not achieve mainstream success, but they placed Ultravox firmly among the most adventurous groups of their generation. It was their 3rd album, Systems of Romance, released in 1978, that revealed the band's most significant creative shift. Recorded in Germany, the album embraced a modern, electronic, and distinctly European atmosphere. The influence of krautrock and continental electronic music was clear, and the band moved further away from traditional rock structures. Many musicians would later point to Systems of Romance as a vital link between post-punk experimentation and the synth-based music that would emerge more fully in the early 80s. Despite its creative importance, the album failed to achieve the commercial success the band had hoped for. Record label support was uncertain, finances were tight, and pressure to deliver results increased. Ultravox found themselves caught between critical admiration and commercial frustration. What remained unseen by the public was that Foxx had already reached a personal breaking point during this period. In later interviews, he explained that his decision to leave Ultravox had effectively been made during the preparations for Systems of Romance. While rehearsing in London, he realized that he wanted to be free of the band altogether. He openly acknowledged that much of the strain within the group came from him, because he no longer felt able to continue in that environment. Rather than blaming others, Foxx framed the situation as a personal realization that the band format no longer suited him. Touring played a major role in this realization. Foxx described life on the road as something that gradually paralyzed him. Night after night of performances left him feeling numb and detached, as if he were watching himself from a distance. He spoke of feeling like a ghost on stage, going through the motions without any real sense of presence or connection. Over time, he came to see himself as a studio-based creator rather than a live performer, and the demands of constant touring became something he felt unable to endure. At the same time, he was becoming increasingly fascinated by new technology. Affordable synthesizers, drum machines, and small studio setups were beginning to appear, offering the possibility for one person to create complete electronic works alone. For Foxx, this represented a fundamental shift. He described it as a new kind of freedom, a way of working without compromise, rehearsal schedules, or group dynamics. As touring wore him down, the idea of working quietly with machines became increasingly attractive. By the end of 1978, Ultravox had finished touring and faced an uncertain future. The band stood at a crossroads, unsure of their next move. Foxx knew that the direction he wanted to explore could not be realized within the group. So he made the decision he had been carrying for some time. He left Ultravox before their next chapter began, clearing the way for Midge to join and take the band forward. At the time, many fans viewed Foxx's departure as a strange move, particularly when Ultravox soon achieved major commercial success. But the band that rose to prominence in the early 80s was not the same band that Foxx had left behind. With Midge as frontman, Ultravox entered a new era closely aligned with the new romantic movement. Albums such as Vienna and Rage in Eden featured dramatic arrangements, lush synthesizers, and a strong visual identity connected to the Blitz scene in London. This version of Ultravox became one of the defining acts of the period, shaping the sound and image of early 80s new romantic culture. Meanwhile, Foxx embarked on a solo career that moved in a very different direction. In 1980, he released Metamatic, an album that quickly became one of the defining statements of early electronic pop. Built around rigid drum machine rhythms, stark synthesizer patterns, and a detached vocal delivery, it presented a cold, urban and futuristic vision. The album rejected glamour and spectacle, focusing instead on minimalism, repetition, and atmosphere. It sounded like the future arriving quietly. Metamatic would go on to influence a wide range of artists. Gary Newman later spoke openly about how much the Foxx era of Ultravox had shaped his own musical direction, and how Foxx's minimal electronic approach helped define the early language of synth-based music. Beyond Newman, traces of Foxx's work can be heard throughout minimal synth, electronic pop, and experimental electronic music that followed in the decades after. Foxx's departure from Ultravox therefore represents more than a simple band split. It marks the moment when one artist chose to step away from touring and commercial expectation in order to pursue a more personal form of electronic expression. While Ultravox moved towards mainstream success within the new romantic movement, Foxx built a quieter and more individual legacy. His work formed a bridge between late 70s avant-garde ideas and the stripped-back electronic sound that would influence countless musicians in the years to come. Looking back, Foxx's own explanations form a clear picture. Burnout from relentless touring, discomfort with live performance, a growing desire for artistic independence, and the appeal of working alone with new electronic tools. These were the forces that pushed him to leave Ultravox and create music on his own terms. John Foxx's decision to leave Ultravox was not about conflict or failure, but about recognizing his own limits and choosing a different creative path. By stepping away when he did, he helped shape two very different strands of electronic music, one that found mainstream success and another that quietly influenced generations of artists.